Is he ball watching?
Who?
Van Dijk. Is he trying to cover Tsimikas?
But in actual fact, all of Liverpool's players got drawn to that side of the pitch in the early part of the move, and then Van Dijk got drawn, so they in effect had 2-on-1 against Neto, which means there's likely to be an overload. I don't know, it sounds like we're being a bit critical of the league champions, but by their standards, which they've set, and they've been exceptional, today they fell below that.
The only thing I can say for Van Dijk is he's thinking to Tsimikas, show him inside, show him onto his left foot, and I'll be there to help you. That's the only thing I can come up with. I haven't watched it 5 or 6 times. He may be screaming at Tsimikas, which we don't know, show him inside, and obviously Neto goes down the outside, which then makes Van Dijk's position look terrible.
Franny, credit where credit is due. He did find the back of the net.
He did.
And the warning signs were there for Chelsea beforehand.
I'm watching this and I don't understand Madueke. I mean, you look at him there, he's standing on the penalty spot. He's around Van Dijk. He may as well be up the pitch. You may as well leave him up the pitch. And it's the same here now. I mean, it's so easy. You know, we spoke a lot about these set-piece coaches. What I can't see for the life of me what Madueke's job is there. His obviously job is to get around Van Dijk, but when the corner comes in, leave him. Well, you may as well be up the pitch, because if the keeper catches it, you may as well have another player at the pitch, because for me there, he's doing absolutely nothing.
I think his role is to look to block Van Dijk, knowing that all he can do is disrupt his run, and then Van Dijk comes onto the next line of defenders, and because he's disrupted Van Dijk's run, or whoever's run he's looking to disrupt, that player is less capable of getting his head to the ball. But for me, why doesn't he just stick with him, man for man? Just stay with him.
I think if you're looking to block someone, you know that to me is not a block.
No.
I mean, he barely lays a glove on Van Dijk. I don't even think he touches him. I think it's like, I'll stand in your way. If you want to run across me that way, I'll leave you. If you want to run behind me, I'll leave you. I'm doing my job. This is what I was told to do. Get around you, disrupt you. For me, it does absolutely nothing.
You mentioned set-piece coach, and this is something which we went in depth to yesterday concerning Arsenal. They rank as one of the worst in the league in terms of the amount of corners taken to concede, and conceding from set pieces, not just corners, but set pieces in general. Are they too focused, set-piece coaches, on attacking as opposed to defending? I'm trying to get my head around it. You've been on the training ground. You were at Everton.
We never had a set-piece coach.
Nothing.
Nothing like that. You know, we had leaders on the pitch who would take control, who would move people about. You know, if you'd come under the pump on a corner previous, and one of the centre-backs coming up had got on the end of it, you know, people like Dave Watson and Richard Gough would be certainly going, right, that doesn't happen again. We're going to do this to stop it. And they probably had more freedom than now. I think, you know, it's quite rigid. I said this before. It's almost quite too tactical. You stand here and you do this and you do that. And I think, listen.
Are you a fan of set-piece coaches? Do you think they have a proper place in the game? Because Nicolas Jova at Arsenal, he's very much front and centre whenever there's a set piece. I mean, he steps into the technical area instead of Mikel Arteta.
What I will say, who am I to say there's not a place for set-piece coaches, because everybody's got them, everybody's doing it.
People had throw-in coaches at one point too.
But back in the day, you know, the set-piece coach was your manager, your first-team coach. And, you know, we went through on the training park, you know, how we were going to defend corners, how we were going to defend wide free kicks, central free kicks, and also attacking set plays as well. But that was done by the fairly limited coaching staff you had, which was manager, first-team coach, and that was about it.
I think that there was more accountability back then, because obviously you know more than me, Gary. Someone coming up, right, he's your man. He doesn't score. You know, if it's written on the board, these are our 5 markers. These pick these players up. That player scores, it's your fault. So there's more accountability now. There's zonal marking. You know, there's people doing half jobs like Madueke. Get back there, do a half job to block Van Dijk's run. So when Van Dijk heads that in, when they're coming in the changing room, not that you want to blame, but who's taking responsibility for that? You mean that there's moments like that cost you games?
Can I ask, just because you would have been present, when you were at Everton and you saw Carlo Ancelotti, did he have a set-piece coach?
I can't remember. If the truth be known, many managers after him.
But that's true. That is true.
But I can't remember. Listen, everybody's doing it, so who am I to say? But
it's just that, you know, Carlo Ancelotti, most Champions Leagues as a manager.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have one, then...
Well, I'll tell you what, I never used to see a coach come off the bench when Everton had a corner for or a corner against. Ancelotti stood out at the front, and that was it. You know, I don't remember seeing a fella that never used to stand up regular, all of a sudden appearing when we got a corner or we were defending a corner. So I would imagine he had one. I'm not certain if he did or he didn't, but they certainly weren't out at the front of the, you know, at the front of the technical area.
Yeah.
When we're defending corners or we were attacking.
I think his set-piece coach was his eyebrow. Comes up and then he knows they mean business. Now,